Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Depot's Den. I am your host, as always, Evan DePasquale, and today we're back in the race, baby. Back in the race. Right now, we're here to talk about just anything. We're here to talk about the Bills and how we have gotten to a point now where the Bills are looking so much better on just a basis of they're back. Right now, the Bills, as I speak right now, this is December 22nd at 9:15. 9:15. Let's have a great day, everybody. That's a reference hopefully some of you might get. The Bills are back, and it's glad to see them back because for a very long time, a lot of fans, including myself, was wondering what's the problem with this offense? Because a lot of times we saw last season and even in this season, we had a problem with how the offense looked. And now, within the last few games for the Bills, their offense has looked like what it was before. And that's really what we're going to talk about is, the offense being back in its groove. And the Bills have looked really shaky. You did not put up at least 30 points since that Miami game in what was it, week 4? Exactly week 4. And then you come in, fire your offensive coordinator, which was probably something that they should have done mm, weeks ago, probably after the Giants game or the Patriots game. And now 32 points, 34 points, 20 points again, but again, it was against the Chiefs. And then 31 points. Just an absolute, you can totally see this Bills offense looking so much better than what it had in times past this season. So we're going to talk a little bit today about, the Bills running game against the Dallas Cowboys and how it was just pure domination for the Bills, and it was absolutely incredible. James Cook ends up leading to having his a career day where he ends up winning offensive player of the week honors, getting 221 yards from scrimmage and 179 rushing yards. And let me tell you, and two touchdowns, one through the air and one on the ground. So James Cook is looking really, really good and expected to be the kind of guy that the Bills wanted and that they got in the draft. So he really was the story of the game. When you go into that game against Dallas, you're wondering, oh, how are you going to stop Micah Parsons? Well, what the Bills did was just run at them. That's basically what the formula for success was for this Bills team. And it showed. It showed that they were not afraid of the Dallas Cowboys. And that was really one of my biggest things is that this defense gets turnovers, and the Bills played turnover free for the first time in weeks. Like, I can't remember the last time that Josh Allen had a game where he didn't turn the ball over. Now, he did have in the Jet game, he had a turnover, but it was kind of like on a Hail Mary on the last play of the half. So I don't want to say it didn't count, but at the same time, it kind of counted because, obviously he turned the ball over. But since Joe Brady has taken over as offensive coordinator for the Bills, they have been looking great on offense. The offense looks like what it used to be. It looked like what was when Brian Dable was the offensive coordinator, where, they're scheming. Josh is running more. They're scheming up plays. And guess what? In this game against Dallas, they did not have to rely on the arm of their talented quarterback, which has been something of an issue that they have had for weeks. The Bills have tried, you know what, Josh? Be a superhero. Save us because we cannot play up to our standards. And guess what? Josh Allen didn't even have 100 yards passing. I can't remember the last time he didn't have 100 yards passing, at least. Now, I'm sure for you fantasy owners, you might have been a little upset, but you got a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown from him. So, all in all, it was a solid performance. Not something that you would expect from Josh Allen because obviously he does all these crazy things. But this time they were just like, you know what? We're just going to pound them to death. We're just going to run the ball. There were multiple drives. I was working the game for the Voice of the Bills, WGR 550. And I really kind of was talking to one of my producers, Zach Jones. I said, how many times have they thrown the ball this drive? And it might be one. There might be none. They might have just gone including like scrambles. So like, if it's a scramble, then obviously it's a run play. It was a design pass, but it ended up going for a run. But it's crazy that they were just like, yeah, we're gonna find a different way to beat you. And that was through running the ball with James Cook. And we're now finally seeing how great this running back can be. He was drafted in the second round, and a lot of people were saying this is like not the steal, but one of the best picks of this draft was getting James Cook. And I thought that it was something that was really huge. You got a running back that can not only run the ball, doesn't have much mileage on him, but also can catch passes out of the backfield. We've seen that since Joe Brady's taken over. He should have had one more touchdown in his as when Joe Brady took over because he dropped a ball in Philadelphia that if he had caught that ball, he would have walked into the end zone. They are scheming James Cook open. They're using Dalton Kincaid more. I feel like, in my opinion, with this Bills offense, they are finding different ways to beat you. Death by 1,000 cuts is what I call it. And right now, the Bills are back in the race. They're not back in the race for like the 1 seed. I think one seed's totally out of my mind. And that's because you lost to the Patriots and you had 12 guys on the field for Denver, which is just atrocious. But anyways, the passing game has looked great, but it hasn't been the reason why the Bills are winning. And that's freaking awesome. The fact that, hey, we might have this superstar quarterback, but we're going to find other ways to beat you, i.e., Dallas. And I think that was what they wanted to do. Dallas has a small, fast type of defense where they're going to be, they're kind of built to almost stop the pass. And basically what the Bills just ended up doing was just beating the Bills to, what they wanted to do is that they just were like, you know what, we're just going to run the ball down your throat. And I think that that's really what was important. James Cook wasn't obviously the only one that had a big game. There were definitely other guys that had a pretty solid game. I think that, Stephon Diggs, he had 4 catches for 48 yards. And I think that it's really good to see. Ty Johnson, he had 9 rushes for 54 yards. This is kind of getting to the point where you don't need Josh Allen to be a superhero. Would I like to see him play really well? Absolutely. And also the defense, I think, in my opinion, was a true. If James Cook didn't have almost over 200 yards from scrimmage, that defense is what we would be talking about. Holding the Cowboys to 10 points, who at the time were the highest scoring team in the league. And you only allowed 10 points. If you want to count 3 and say that their touchdown was a garbage time touchdown, I'm totally okay with that, because honestly, that was kind of a garbage time touchdown where it was just a BS touchdown. It didn't really matter uh in the grand scheme of things. If you have any comment about the Bills game against Dallas or the game coming up, please leave a comment or tweet at me at Evan Depot 2. I'll try to get to them in in my video if they pop up, or if I see something in my next video, I'll make sure to mention it. But I think that we really have seen a new evolution of the Bills passing attack and their offense in general, where it has been more efficient. And that's something that we've been frustrated about, is that the offense has not looked the way it should. So it's good to see that now. Now, on to this game coming up tomorrow. It's an 8:00 kickoff. If you are in Buffalo, that game will be on Channel 2, local TV Channel 2, NBC. But if you are not in the area, it'll be streaming on Peacock. This is a game, for our keys to the game, do not take this game lightly, because we talked about other games this season where we took games lightly. The Bills did. And what happened? The Bills ended up only scoring 14 points against the Giants and allowing 29 to the Patriots, who are 3-11, arguably one of the worst teams in football right now. So do not take the Chargers lightly. They are still a good team, and that's going to be the important factor in this game, is to not take the Chargers. Make sure that you kind of keep them honest. Mix in the pass and the running game. And I still see the running game being a huge factor for tomorrow's game. They gave the Chargers, they gave up 124 yards on 26 carries, along with 2 touchdowns against the Raiders, who are not really a great team. So now you come in with this offense that's just incredibly good. And I think, in my opinion, you could probably put up a lot of points against them. And that's what I think we're going to see, is we're going to see this Bills offense just look incredible against this team. But like I said, do not take them lightly. They are without their starting quarterback, and they are without their head coach and their GM. And so sometimes they could end up, coming out of nowhere and, scoring a possible, I don't know, defensive touchdown. So I think that the big thing is keep using James Cook. He has been your biggest weapon the past 4 weeks. Stephon Diggs, I expect him to have a huge game. I expect Diggs to really show out. The Chargers gave up 4 touchdowns last week. Now, they are on a mini bye, so they've had a week and a half to prepare for this game. And the Bills are coming in off a short week because they played on Sunday. So I still think that if you can get Diggs involved, and plus you're playing in a dome, perfect weather conditions. When the Bills are playing in peak weather conditions, the last time they were in LA when they played the Rams on the opening night. The offense was cooking. So I totally expect Allen and the passing game to have a really big game against the Chargers. All right. Some injury news before we get to picks, and then we'll sign off. Um, Jordan Phillips has been put on injured reserve because he had wrist surgery literally like right after the game. He's been placed on injured reserve, so he'll probably not play till if they make the playoffs, or his regular season is over technically because he has to wait out 4 games. Micah Hyde and Justin Shorter are both ruled out for this game. I'm not too concerned about either one of them. Hyde is a little bit more concerning because he is a starter, but you've seen it from Taylor Rapp. Taylor Rapp has looked really good in sort of a backup role, and he could be a starter. And in my personal opinion, no disrespect to Micah Hyde, but I don't think you should pay him because he is old and he is, injury prone. You re-sign Taylor Rapp and keep him on your roster, and he'll be your other safety next to Jordan Poyer. Kyer Elam, AJ Epinesa, Ty Johnson, and Daquan Jones. We thought Daquan Jones was going to be out for the season, so he possibly could play. I highly doubt it, but he could possibly play. All those other guys are questionable. So that's the injury news for the Bills. All right, time to get to my favorite part of doing my show is where I get to make my predictions and what I think of these games. So we're going to start off. There's another game that's going to be happening before Bills and Chargers. That game also tomorrow. Bengals Steelers. I think that the Steelers are frauds, and I would not be surprised if Mike Tomlin wants to move on or something like that. So and Cincinnati has been hot. I'm gonna take the Bengals in this game. I'm going to go with Cincinnati, and they're going to still be, in the playoff hunt without Joe Burrow. Colts and Falcons. The Falcons, in my opinion, I have no idea why Arthur Smith is still their head coach. I would not be surprised if he is let go at the end of the year. So, and Indianapolis has looked pretty solid. I'm going to go with the Colts in this game. Lions, Vikings. The Vikings, it's a tough one because they're still fighting for their playoffs lives. Detroit's trying to win the division. I'm going to still take Detroit, wherever you're playing, in Ford Field or in, I think US Bank Stadium. I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions on this one. Commanders, Jets. The Jets have been a complete dumpster fire this season. There were maybe thoughts that Rodgers could come back, and obviously we all knew that wasn't going to happen, and he's now not going to come back, which obviously people are now waking up to the fact that, Aaron Rodgers isn't going to come back. So suck it up, Jets. You're losing this game. I'm taking the Commanders in this game. Packers, Panthers. The Panthers are the worst team in the NFL right now. They're not going to get the number 1 pick because that's going to go to Chicago. So I'm taking Green Bay in this one. Jordan Love is due for a bounce back game after, I believe, 2 straight losses. Browns, Texans. This one, I am going to go with the Browns in this one. Their defense has looked really good. I don't know if CJ Stroud is going to be ready to come back for the Texans. Tank Dell is still kind of, I don't know if he's going to be ready to go. So I'm going to go with the Browns in this one. And plus, that Cleveland defense has looked incredible so far. Jaguars, Buccaneers. I'm going to go with the Jaguars in this one. I think that, no disrespect to Baker Mayfield, he had a great game against the Packers, but I still believe that there is more in Jacksonville. So I'm going to go with the Jaguars on this one. Cardinals, Bears. This is easily the worst game of the week. This is what my colleague Derek Kramer calls the booty cheek of the week. What is the worst, where bad teams play bad teams, who's the worst of the teams? I'm going to go with the Bears in this game to beat the Cardinals. Cowboys, Dolphins. I think that this actually, if 49ers Ravens wasn't playing, I think this would be the game of the week, but obviously it's not. Um, I'm going to go with the Dolphins on this one. I have a feeling they're going to do what the Bills did to the Cowboys, which is run the ball down their throat. And I think that that's what's going to happen. And obviously I want I want Dallas to beat Miami because that would help out the Bills a ton, but I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins on this one. Patriots Broncos. The Patriots again so terrible, and I don't have any faith in them. Belichick might be out, like leaving this upcoming after this season. So I'm going to go with the Broncos on this one. Raiders Chiefs. You know what? This is a sneaky one. I feel like the Raiders had the game on Thursday night. They kicked butt against the Chargers, who the Bills are going to play. And the Chiefs their offense is a little sus. I have not felt like the Chiefs are what they used to be and the Chiefs of old. So I'm going to go but I'm still going to go with the Chiefs on this one because they have Patrick Mahomes. Giants, Eagles, Tommy DeVito, I love you, buddy, from one Italian to another, but unfortunately, the Eagles are going to, kick your butt the next two games because they are playing. Philly and the Giants are playing twice in these last 3 weeks. And then to wrap it up, this is so perfect, this game. Ravens, 49ers. This could be a Super Bowl preview, possibly. But, and I think that this is going to be an incredible game. But what I'm going to look at is which defense is going to stop which offense. And in my opinion, right now, the 49ers defense is going to stop the Ravens offense. And I'm going to pick the 49ers to win this game. And last but not least, Bills, Chargers. I expect a huge statement win from the Bills. I think that they're going to put up 30 again. And the defense might have another game against East Stick. I don't even remember who their backup quarterback is. I'd be a little bit more concerned if Herbert was in the lineup, but Herbert unfortunately is not going to play, and I'm going to give me the Bills all day. I don't want to say Bills by a billion, but I think that the Bills are easily the better team, and they need to show you that they are the better team tomorrow on NBC or Peacock or wherever you're going to watch it. Go Bills. Have a Merry Christmas or whatever you celebrate. Happy holidays. I will talk to you next week after the Bills-Chargers game. Hopefully, we're talking about another Buffalo Bills victory. I have been Evan DePasquale. You have been watching Depot's Den, and we will see you next time. Have a great holiday.